I've gone live, I think. 80% certain. One day I will find a way to be 100% certain when I hit that button. But good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having an awesome day. It is a little moist outside. I know some people don't like that word, but I think it's always fun to use that word when it comes to the weather, just because, again, it annoys people. I see that we have Debbie Pickens this morning here with a wet, dreary weather in Oklahoma. Wet and dreary means it's a good day to be in your sewing room, which means, she's not the only one sewing for Christmas this morning. Yeah, I need to get Christmas finished. Hi, Katie Crafts. I'm glad to see that you are here as well. Good morning, Judy and Terry. Glad to see you joining. It's been a little busy of a morning. I had to get my quarterly blood draw done this morning because the doctor won't renew a prescription without it. It's a basically maintenance prescription, making sure we all stay alive. So I went and got stabbed this morning. The nurse didn't feel a thing, and she's like, big stick. I'm like, didn't feel a thing. And she wrapped it up and everything. I grabbed breakfast on the way home. I was a little nervous that I wasn't going to make it because my appointment was at 9:45, and sometimes they run really behind. But I got home in time, and then when I pulled off the vet wrap, there was a bit of blood in there that I'm not accustomed to seeing. So I don't know whether she just didn't go tight enough on the pressure of the vet wrap or what happened. Not bleeding, I'm fine, so all is good. Good morning, Charlotte, who says good morning to me and everyone. So everyone take your good morning. I hope everybody is enjoying Vlogmas. I've now put out 2 videos, as has my friend Shannon and my friend Stephanie so far. We are planning on putting them out in the mornings. I haven't had a chance to watch anybody's Vlogmas today because I forgot my earbuds when I went into the lab office to get drawn. So I will be catching up on those in a little bit because, I want to spend some time with y'all. Speaking of Shannon, good morning, Shannon. Happy Vlogmas. And Sally says it's cold and wet there in Erie, Pennsylvania. There's an Erie, Pennsylvania too? I thought there was just an Erie, Indiana. Or was Erie, Indiana a big place and they just made a TV show about it? I don't remember. I'm bad with geography and especially places. I've had friends say, I'm at such and such place. And I'm like, I don't know how to get there without my GPS. It's even said most of the time I also use my GPS to get to my sister's, even though I know I just go down the mountain, I turn left, and then at some point I turn right. And if I miss that turn right, I can take the next turn right. Oh, so today I am working on the Fort Worth Fabric Studio week 4. Yeah, week 4. They are light bulbs. I got a little bit ahead and started doing one side of the pseudo flying geese because, I had a few minutes before this started. And I don't like doing the trimming pieces. I like doing the sewing pieces. So I said, if I can get a couple pieces ahead of time on the channel, or on sewing ahead, then that's a few more minutes I could spend sewing. Charlotte says YouTube is still behaving badly, having to subscribe to my channel again. I have no idea why that would happen. You may end up having to send them a message somehow and say, look, I'm trying to keep tabs of my friends, and apparently something's not working with your system. It keeps telling me that I need to subscribe. Hi, Stephanie. She's saying hi to all the quilty people. I think everybody here is coolly quilty. Darlene Kino No Show has shown up. Sally says it's on Lake Erie. I mean, that would make sense. So, let's see. Sally made Harry eat onions. So that's that lake. Not that I can remember that. I just remember Sally made Harry eat onions, which I always found an amusing phrase. So I am going to start the snowballing of the rest of the corners. I got everything cut. I was kind of annoyed last night because I think I'm 1 2.5 inch strip short somehow in my cutting. I swear I had everything counted, but either I did something wrong when I was cutting places separately, or I did something wrong in the initial cutting. I don't know. I was able to find enough scraps to make up everything that I'm missing. So I have everything from the white officially cut for Monday's pattern, which I will be doing next week here on Saturday because I know I'm not going to have any time during the week. Stephanie says that YouTube is behaving badly because she didn't get notified for the live. So if YouTube is being bad, does that mean Santa's not going to bring it anything for Christmas? Because, it is the Christmas season. And all of the other 47 holidays that exist between Thanksgiving and New Year's. So maybe YouTube won't be getting anything this holiday season because it's being so bad. Yes, it is hard to get to 1,000 subs when YouTube keeps unsubscribing people. I was very happy to see some of my subscriber numbers pop up yesterday. I was really thrilled when I got to see my lucky number show up in my subscriber count for a short period. I took a screen cap of that and was all excited. I even shared it with a whole bunch of friends. I'm like, yes, it's my lucky number. Hi, Jean. So if I am working on the Fort Worth Fabric Studio Lighted Up Mystery Quilt, and then it said Debbie Pickens is working on some other Christmas sewing, what is everybody else working on? Because that's the best part about this, is knowing what everybody else is working on. I know we have a whole bunch of Christmas projects that we need to get done. I have this afternoon, my plan is to do the top stitching on my sister's table runners, and then I can count those as done. I have to figure out what I think I'm going to make my coworkers a table runner as well. I just haven't figured out what I'm going to make them a table runner of. If I'm going to do you can have this out any time of year, or if I want to give them a Christmas one and they're going to have to wait until next Christmas to use it. I kind of hate giving Christmas themed stuff at Christmas because they can't use it. Stephanie and Shannon are working on super secret presents. That sounds fun. And Judy is working on a t-shirt quilt. I have to, once these big projects that I have going on right now are out of the way, I have a neighbor who wants me to do basically a quilt out of t-shirt material. It's not quite t-shirts, but it's the same jersey material, and it's got the licensed character on it. So it's going to be a little bit of fun. I've got the pattern in my head on what needs to happen. Ingrid says no fair with these super secret projects. I think it's completely fair. It is fun to be working on super secret projects. I have some super secret projects that I am also working on. It's just, I don't know certain projects that I can share and certain that I can't, because I don't know who is starting to watch my channel anymore that is in my friends and family list. So there's some stuff that I'm like, okay, I'll share because nobody will know it's going to be for them. And then there's other stuff that I will share, and I'm like, I hope they don't know it's for them. I sent my cousin a pair of texts yesterday. I have a super secret project that I'm going to work on her for next Christmas. But I didn't want to make all the decisions because, there's this or that, or this and that. And because it's super secret, I can't tell what the ors were in case she decides to be bombing this and not saying hi yet. But I sent her a text and I just gave her 2 letters and said, do you want this letter or that letter? And it ended up making the decision. She basically made the decisions as to what all the decisions I had to make were without her knowing what the decisions were. And it was just kind of fun. And I told her, if you don't like your Christmas, it's your fault because you made your decisions. And she's like, oh, crap. The second set of decisions, I responded back and said, well, that's kind of interesting because you started with TKO, which is a technical knockout, and you ended with SSA, which was ass backwards. And she's like, I just went with what letters spoke to me. And knowing what the letters mean, I think they spoke very well to her. So, I mean, she couldn't have gone wrong no matter which letters she chose. So it's just, I didn't have to make the decisions as to which ways to go. Good morning, Jackie. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Oh, Lordy. This got flipped and I can't tell which side is up. Okay, that side's up. The problem with these really light white on whites is unless you have the right angle, it's hard to tell. Although I'm now remembering somebody said if you use a black light, it should help you. I did not go buy a black light yet. And why do I only remember that when I'm on live? Good morning, Kathleen. Excuse me. Good morning, Kathy Klein, who lives in Central Illinois. Or maybe she's just visiting there. So since it is Vlogmas, has anybody seen some exciting YouTubers doing Vlogmas besides me, Stephanie, and Shannon? Because the Vlogmas videos are very short, so it would be really awesome to be able to catch up with other YouTubers if you know of any. So let us know who we should be looking forward to. I did see that Adam Soz is doing Vlogmas as well. So I'm trying to watch his stuff. And there's a few other content creators that I don't know if they're officially doing what they're doing as Vlogmas or if they're just doing a whole bunch of like box openings and stuff. Because heaven knows some of us is doing a lot of purchasing. The mail delivery decided to do a delivery at like 10:15 this morning. No, it wasn't 10:15. It was 9:45 because I was in the I was still waiting to be brought back for my blood draw, and I saw that something had been delivered. And I was like, that was early. And then I have more coming this afternoon. Yes, Adam is doing well. I've only seen one video, but he is doing great so far with his Vlogmas. I saw that he had a second video, I think it was scheduled to premiere, but I don't remember when. Like I said, I missed all of my setup times because what I normally do in the morning was all shifted because I didn't bring my earbuds to the lab draw. So I couldn't watch all the Vlogmases. Instead, I took a few minutes to figure out the Wordle because one of the relatives in the chat, I don't remember which one, was like, what can this word be? Because it doesn't make any sense with these letters. Why we still play Wordle? I don't know, but it's still fun. Okay, Stephanie says that Adam's Vlogmas premieres at 6:30 p.m. So I would watch it this evening. Wonder why he's premiering it so late, because that's got to be like, I was going to say, that's got to be like midnight or after midnight, before midnight, where he is. I don't know time zones, but it's got to be a pretty decent time difference. Well, I know it's a decent time. I just don't know it's how late it is for him to be doing a premiere. I have no idea what time it is in London, and I support a handful of people in London. Go figure. I almost didn't think I was going to get my Vlogmas episode recorded yesterday because sometime between me leaving to pick up Riley from daycare and me finishing dinner, which I just grabbed McDonald's on the way back from daycare because Free Friday, I went upstairs just to happen to look at our system to make sure nothing got kicked out because it's GL closed. And something kicked out in that, 2-hour time window. And the folks who would be responsible for providing that mapping were either on a plane or in the middle of Mexico. So I first pinged my boss and said, look, I don't think anybody's going to be around. What do we do? And then a different manager pinged me and said, "Hey, Russ, I hate to bother you." And I just immediately responded with, "Yes, I know. I'm trying to get direction on what to do." And she goes, "So you're already on it?" I was like, "Of course. I mean, what do you expect?" And, then another coworker suggested that I ping the person who would provide the mapping on Zoom. And as I'm trying to do that, my boss finally responded and said, "Can you give me more info? We need to know what's going on." And I said, "I think I've got a handle now." I was able to get a hold of him roaming the streets of Mexico City, and I gave him all the information. He was able to provide the mapping result. So I got that resolved early. So that was pretty exciting. Charlotte's addicted to Wordle. She got it on the third try. Oh, yay. I usually will get it on the third, maybe fourth try. Today it took me 5 tries. So not quite as quickly as I had hoped, but it still worked. Okay, I think we're trying to figure out time zones. So is he premiering at 6:30 p.m. his time, or is it 6:30 p.m. our time? Because Jackie's saying that it's going to be 2:30 p.m. So I'm trying to figure out which direction we're trying to translate to and from. Because 6:30 there is not, it would be 2:30 here, but if it's 6:30 here, that means that's 10:30 there. "6:30 Eastern" is what Stephanie's saying. So I like to say that YouTube is good at translating time zones, but for some reason, the TV in the living room will display everything in I think it's UTC time that it is displaying the time in, because it'll be telling me that something is going to go live or premiere at like 12 a.m. and I'm like, no, that's going live like in a couple minutes. So if I end up being late for a live, it ends up being because my TV doesn't know what time it is. But the TV in here, which is the same brand TV, using the exact same YouTube app, will time zone everything correctly. So I just haven't figured out what's going on with my TV in the living room. Because it's got the time zone set up correctly on the clock because it displays the correct time. Which goes back to my whole opinion that the world needs to have basically one time zone, and every region, whether it be a city or a state or even just the individual stores, can decide that they want to be open between these hours. And it's the same hours. If you need to call them, you don't have to do any time zone translations. So if they said that they're open from, 900 to 1700, if you were in London, you would know what 900 and 1700 are relative to where the sun is And same thing here. I would know where 900 and 1700 are based on the sun. We wouldn't have to worry about daylight saving time. We wouldn't have to worry about time zone translation. Schools would go at their own time, and it doesn't have to always. You don't have to say that you're going to school from 8 to 4 in any time zone. It's one time zone would be 8 to 4. One time zone would be 9 to 5. It just makes working across time zones a lot easier. Okay, yep. 6:30 p.m. Eastern is 4:30 Arizona. Good morning, Candace. Hope you are having a wonderful day. I've got a pile of snowballs here, which is kind of perfect for winter. I do not like snow. I do remember a hilarious snowball story, though. In college, we would have a regular Saturday night date. A friend of mine and I, every Saturday night, we would go to one of our dorms and watch Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Hercules, and Xena, or whatever was on TV that night. We would watch Britcoms as well. And it was my day to be hosting. Oh, that one's upside down. I don't care. You won't be able to tell. But it was my day hosting. And it was sometime in the winter. I was doing dishes. So this was senior year. And I'm doing the dishes. She knocks on the door. I open it up. And she throws a snowball right at me. And I'm just like, dude, what'd you do that for? So with her being 5'10", I just picked her up, brought her outside, and I plopped her down into the snowbank. I was like, see, that's what you get. It was kind of amusing. We were laughing. I'm in shorts because, that's me. And then I'm like, okay, let us back in the building because you had to use ID badge to get in. And she goes, you don't have your ID on you? I was like, of course not. I was doing dishes. What do you expect me to have on me? So she's like, well, I'm not going to let you in. I'm like, okay, fine, whatevs. But yeah, what she thought would be an innocent snowball prank, which it was, she ended up being dropped into the snowbank. And then I was stuck outside for a few minutes until she decided to let me in. I know my sister has already made comments that it snowed up in Massachusetts. And I'm like, see, that's why I don't normally like to come visit, even though I have. I need to remember. Hopefully tomorrow I remember to put the photo in there. There was a picture that was taken, I forget how many years ago, Time Hop said, but it was taken while my other sister was visiting Massachusetts. So I flew up there as well to visit with her. So we wanted family picture in front of the mountain. So we go there, take some pictures. And like I'm doing the whole selfie thing up in the air. And I end up posting the pictures on Facebook. And my niece looks like I photoshopped her in the picture. And she was physically there. I know she was physically there because I took the picture, but she looks like she's photoshopped in there, which was very amusing. So we call that every year her photoshopped picture. And like I'll send it to her occasionally and joke, you could have had the decency to show up. I have no idea why it looks like she's photoshopped, but it's hilarious. One of the things that showed up on my doorstep this morning from the mailman is another little camera stand. So as I'm working on getting my desktop set up instead of the laptop that I have here, I'm hoping to be able to get a second camera up and running so we can see what I'm working on. I don't know how that's going to work when it comes to, I have my sewing machine over here and my cutting area over here, but we'll worry about that when it happens. Maybe I'll eventually grow and get a third camera or something like that. I don't know. The cameras that I'm using are amazingly cheap. I'm sorry, surprisingly inexpensive. That's the way I should say it. Because they are good quality cameras. They're not, the best, all the professional stuff, but when I was doing research, they said that these are the cameras that most folks start their YouTube videos with. And I figured, okay, I'll be part of most folks. And they work pretty nicely. They work well with the software I use. And I can, have that camera sitting there. And then I want to get the camera, like I said, pointing here, pointing towards the machine so you can see what's going on while I sew. I have no idea how to get that working when it comes to, like, if I start doing Zoom chats with folks like Sean does with his brekkie. I don't know how to get, a Zoom camera. I think I have to have a separate computer connected to it, which I still have my laptop, so I can probably do that. I just got to figure out how to get it done. So I have a handful of these started because I want to get back to sewing. And I'm going to switch my feet again. Good morning, Math Geek. Woke up early to finally catch a live. I didn't realize I was that early, but then again, time zone, yeah, that is still fairly early. It's like 8:30ish on the whatever that other side time zone, Pacific time zone. So yeah, that is kind of early for some. So the next piece of the instructions say I need to put a white rectangle on either side of the bulb. Yep, 8:30 out west. I need to start learning. I'm sorry, I need to start remembering where people are viewing from. Since I know we are all over the globe. And after I'm done with the live today, I need to head up to both of my local quilt shops. One of them, I need to put my deposit on a special order bolt of fabric that I asked for. I pinged the shop owner and said, hey, can you add this to your order if you still can? I'll pay for it, obviously. And I even said, if you need me to pay any portion in advance, I'd be glad to, because I don't know how fabric orders work, whether they have to put a deposit on the fabric and then pay on delivery, or I know some of the stuff is like net 60. Either way, I don't want the small business to be, waiting for money if they have to pay anything in advance, especially. And then, some businesses, if you do a special order, they want a portion of the money just to make sure you'll come pick it up. So I need to go out there and pay for that. I told her that I would come get it or come pay for it in person, because it's a little, they save a few cents or potentially dollars on a credit card if it's physically swiped versus typed in. There's different rates on credit card charges from the processor. So I said, let me come in and pay for it, because I need to come and buy some stuff as well. And Philippa is working on trying to peer pressure me into the New York Beauty. So I was like, well, they got some awesome boutiques there. I'm going to go see what they have for boutiques. Heidi, it is, well, I was going to say it's never too late for Elevensies, but, if the food runs out, the food runs out. You know how hobbitses are. I try not to let food run out, though. I got an email from someone yesterday. I'm not going to reveal their name, just to keep the guilty party as innocent as possible. Wondering if my Elevensies was a Zoom event like Stevens does his so days. And I responded, Steven right now has a monopoly on so days. I am not about to start impeding on his monopoly, because he enjoys doing them. And, if he wants to do them, he needs to be able to have first choice in everything. That said, one day I might end up asking him and say, hey, do you mind if I do pop-up so days on days that you're not doing pop-up so days? That way, everybody has it, or there's more chances of people to have somebody to sew with. And we'll find out what he says, but I'm not ready to do that. The Zoom license that we have is for, I have the same Zoom license as he does, because you need that to connect to YouTube with Zoom. So it's feasible if I ever decided to be a little crazy to do that. Everybody has to promise to eat on stream if they want to on Zoom, because, we have that rule. But if I end up doing that, it's got to be several months down the line. I got to get more comfortable with the rest of this technology that I have available to me. As if I shouldn't know how to use Zoom because I use it at work. But most of my stuff at Zoom for work has no more than like 6 or 7 people. Bye, Charlotte. Have a wonderful day. Heidi is a hobbit. She loves mushrooms and has hairy toes. I'm okay on the mushroom piece, but I definitely do have the hairy toes. The friend that I told the story about earlier with the snowball, Heidi, please rewind later and listen to the story. She's 4'10", so she is definitely hobbit sized. She, for a while, was trying to do a YouTube. She had like 4 or 5 videos. I subscribed to her because I support my friends. But she was something Hobbit or the Hobbit something, or I don't remember what it was. But she had some pretty good videos. I think she didn't continue because she doesn't like the whole camera thing. I can tell that she was a little concerned about the pressures that it seemed to be. I think she just really needed a Vlogmas to get herself accustomed. But, we'll see if she ends up coming back at some point. Candace says she'll be sure to stuff her face for all the Zoomers to see. That was certainly awkward when it first happened. I've only heard bits and pieces of the story of what happened with Steven. Or I'm sorry, not with Steven, on Steven's Zoom. But it's kind of amusing. I know my manager, she despises when anybody eats in her meetings, whether it be an in-person meeting or a Zoom meeting. So when we have meetings, we try to have our food finished before we have to have our meeting. What was it? Wednesday, I wasn't so lucky to have my food finished. I had a ultrasound appointment that day. Not pregnant. And I went into the office because that was the day of the baby shower. So I left the ultrasound appointment about, I think it was about 8:40. I left the ultrasound, and I didn't get to the office until 9:45. And I was like, cripes, I have a 10 o'clock meeting, and I also have medication that I need to take with food. And you can't have anything to eat or drink before an ultrasound. So I went to the market. I texted everybody and said, I'm on campus. I just need to grab a bite to eat. Otherwise, 1, my stomach is going to try to eat itself. And 2, I need to take my medicine because it's morning medicine. And I finally got onto our team meeting Zoom. And I said, I'm here, but I'm not on camera because I'm eating. And I know how much everybody hates, and I know it's not everybody, it's just my manager. But I know how everybody hates when somebody is eating on camera. So traffic was crazy that day, and we don't know why. My first reaction was, this is the traffic that I don't miss since we've started, the whole working more from home as a culture. Because I do remember, it was a combination of it. the times that are busy have shifted, but where I used to work, it was right next door to a convention center, and anytime that there was a convention in town, which was multiple times a month, it was always a pain in the neck to get in there and then also get out of. Yeah, I don't miss those days. Good morning, Marilyn, who's in the Chicago area. The only time I have been to the Chicago area was flying. I had a flight from Phoenix that had a layover in Chicago. And whatever pizza they had in the Chicago airport was just meh. So I don't know why, because I would expect if it was, in the Chicago airport, it should be, for that price, be halfway decent. Because I know a few years ago I stopped through Baltimore and I could not find it this last time I flew. There was this crab place that was so delicious in the airport. Again, overpriced because it's airport, but definitely worth the flavor, because you want to make sure that whatever experience you have in an airport for food at least represents your city. Good morning, Melissa. Glad to have you join us. She's also saying hi to Math Geek and Stephanie. But yeah, the overpricing that airports do can be a little ridiculous. The Boston Logan Airport, though, they have a rule, apparently, that their prices are no higher than what you would pay in a mall food court. So if you go to the Donkey down in Boston Logan, whatever the price you pay there is what you would end up paying if you went to, I'm going to say, the Burlington Mall, which I think is very commendable of them, because, again, airport food is very expensive. But I quit flying into Boston because it was AirTran that I would fly into Boston with. And with the Southwest merger, while they still fly into Boston, it's not a direct flight to Boston. And it's not a direct flight to Hartford either. But Hartford is significantly closer to my family. It's a 90+ minute drive from Boston to where my sister lives. And it's like a 30-minute drive from Hartford to where my sister lives. So I'm like, if everything else is approximately the same, I would rather have a shorter commute to go see my sister, because that means I can spend about an hour more with her arriving, and I can spend an hour with her before I have to leave on my departing day. So I now fly into Hartford. Good morning, Rob, Quilting in the Man Cave. I am doing very well this morning. It's a gorgeous drizzly day here, so really have to be in the sewing room, even though I'm going to be going out driving in it again in a little bit. It's been a light enough drizzle that Riley hasn't minded going out in it, and it's not a crazy rain, so I'm not getting soaked while taking her around the block. I've got a couple of my blocks done, which is kind of exciting. I think these are going to go very well with grab one with the green light bulb. So we'll see how they are. The gorgeous stars. And the first block was this really large present, which nobody can see how I goofed it. Not even Walter. So yeah, these I've got 4 of them done. I think I'm going to end up picking that bad seam that I did up here, because this corner I sewed the wrong side to the right side, and if that's a 30-second pick, then I will have fun just taking a quick pick at it and not worry about that, even though there is a couple other wrong sides of the fabric pointing out in other places. It was really weird because I noticed it when I was cutting. The right side was on the inside of this fabric, which was why I ended up putting the wrong side out accidentally, because I flipped everything after I cut it to what I would assume would have been the right side, but it was inside out folded, even on the mid seam. Thank you, Stephanie. I do think that they are awesome, and thank you also, Nancy. Yes, Marilyn, those are the same blocks that you saw on Stephanie's channel. Stephanie is doing the official tutorial for Fort Worth Fabric Studio. So she gets at least a minute head start. I know she sews like 72 billion stitches a second. But with her doing the tutorial and it's being released the same day as the pattern, I know she gets them at least a day ahead of time. So she might know what the whole quilt is going to look like tomorrow, but I'm not going to bribe her for it because I want to be surprised. That's what the whole mystery thing is. Bonita says, my sewing always looks perfect. And the key to that is you're looking at it on a small screen and I'm holding it pretty far back. Everybody who sews, they know all the mistakes that they put into their machines or into their stitches. And anybody who gets it, or anybody who looks at it, they never know what the mistakes are because, one, they don't know what the pattern is. And if you don't tell them what the mistake is, they will never know. And if they are looking close enough to find a mistake, that means their name is Walter. But, if they're hunting for a mistake, they may not be 100% quilt worthy. I know when I made some of my early baby quilts, I did the quilting on my domestic machine, and I did like crisscrosses, and I'm sitting here looking at the quilting and I'm like, this looks horrible because my lines aren't quite straight and everything else. But, the baby doesn't care. that the stitches may be a little bit crooked, the parent is always going to say this is gorgeous because handmade trumps everything. So I just learned we got to stop being so critical on ourselves with the stitching. It's close enough, and if it bothers you, you should be able to pick it out. Good morning, Katie, Greenland Quilter. And thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie is reminding everybody that I have a goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I have the goal, and my friend Shannon of Slay Arts also has the goal. We would like to have 1,000 subs by the end of the year because 1,000 is a really cool number in the YouTube universe. Not as cool as my lucky number that I had yesterday, but still, it's a really cool number. It means that we can do more with our channels and we get pushed out a bit more. Working your way up to 1,000 is a lot of work. And I can tell you that I would not be where I am right now without a lot of the awesome help from folks like Stephanie, folks like Sean, the guy who sews, who have featured me on their channels, and I would get a handful of stuff. Oh, and Steven, he did a really awesome interview with me earlier this year. So if you're really curious about that, in my infancy days, that was the end of December, I believe, last year. If you want to go hunt that down on his channel, it's a really fun interview. But yeah, without the exposure that folks that have more than 1,000 subscribers, it gets difficult to make it up there. I know Katie just recently hit 1,000, and congrats to her on that because, like I said, it's difficult to get to that 1,000, but once you get to the 1,000, it works up there. And speaking of my friend Steven, he has a goal of hitting 10,000. It's hard to believe that he's not at 10,000 with as awesome as he is. But, I would love the day when I get to see his subscriber count say it's over 10,000, just because that's an incredible number. It could be very exciting. So, if you want to give Steven a subscribe, if you haven't had it, if you want to give me a subscribe, if you want to give Shannon a subscribe, definitely give Katie and Stephanie a subscribe, even though they have more than 1,000, because that still helps them out. Those are awesome. Like I said, we're going to be busting our rear ends off during Vlogmas to give you some really fun content over the next 23, 22 more days. My plan is to go until Christmas Day, but my Christmas Vlogmas episode is not going to be at my normal 9:30 a.m. Christmas Day. Is going to be in the evening because I'm going to be showing off the cool stuff that my sister and her family have decided to gift me for Christmas, and whatever else the fur kids would have gifted me, because that's pretty awesome that we get all the cool gifts. I think I am going to try to wrap it up. I have been streaming for about an hour. I want to stream more, but I have errands I need to run today. And in order to get those errands done and to be able to get back here so I can be sewing this evening while live at 5 on my friend Quilting with Stephanie Stitches channel, they are going to have the 4S Club collaboration. It's Sean, the guy who sews, Stephanie of Quilting with Stephanie Stitches, Stephen of Land Designs and Idiot Quilter, and Shannon of Slay Arts. They all happen to have the first name that begins with S. And they are doing a collab where you guys got to vote on which pattern that they had to do. And then they're doing a live sew tonight on Stephanie's channel at 5 p.m. Eastern. So I'm hoping to be able to be home to watch that. Tomorrow morning, my friend Sean is doing his weekly vlog in the morning. Also tomorrow morning at 8:30, Stephanie is going to be putting out her Vlogmas episode. At 9 o'clock, Shannon is going to be putting out her Vlogmas episode. And then at 9:30, I will be putting out my Vlogmas episode. And then I know tomorrow at 11, Shannon of Slay Arts is going to be doing her Sunday brunch. I think she said she's having Stephanie on her channel, if I'm remembering correctly, and they are going to be working on one of the many cool projects that came in the Fat Quarter Shop Jolly Box. I did not get the Jolly Box this year, so I won't be sewing that with them, but I will definitely be sewing something with them because it's always more fun to sew with friends. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, my friend Steven of Land Designs and Media Quilter, he does his live with Steven and Walter. That is always a lot of fun. They usually have a direction that they want to bring the chat, but a lot of times the chat will end up derailing the direction that they want to go to. So they just talk about whatever happens, and it's always a lot of fun. Tomorrow night, I will be doing my weekly vlog. So you'll be getting my daily Vlogmas, and then which is going to be strictly like the box openings and my favorite things. Which, if you have any suggestions for my favorite things questions, please put them in one of the Vlogmas episode comments, because I don't know if I can come up with a whole 25 of them myself. I have had some really awesome suggestions, and I thank you for that. So I just need a handful more, but it's going to be a lot of fun. But I will be doing my normal vlog tomorrow evening that gives you all the shenanigans that happened this week. There was a baby shower. I had my plague shot this week, and that had some interesting interactions and stuff. So there's a lot of interesting stuff, and you get to see all the awesome things that I've worked on this week, from the light bulb blocks to the multiverse quilt, because I've gotten about half the semicircle blocks done, and it's looking gorgeous. I'm hoping to get some good progress worked on that again later. I know during the week there's going to be a lot of lives, a lot of videos put out. I don't have that full schedule in front of me. I need to get a whiteboard to put there so I can have the schedule up there, or maybe just get another monitor that just has it all written up there, hanging on the wall. I'll figure that out. But anyway, check out all the friends, check out all the Vlogmases, check out all the lives. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell everybody what an awesome job they're doing. For me, I don't even care if you hit the dislike button, because that still means you interacted, and YouTube still appreciates that as an interaction. So I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day, an awesome weekend. And again, check out all the lives. In fact, in an hour, Mom and Pop Quilt Shop will be going on live. So hop on over there. Take care.